Our series on University of Tulsa student athletes going to the Olympics continues now with another rower. It is Michelle Sechser, who performed for the University of Tulsa a few years ago, but has been in obviously been in the national and international stage rowing for quite some time now. And you have made the Olympics. First of all, Michelle, congratulations. As a TU grad, I know you're proud of that. What was it like to finally qualify for the Olympics?
Oh gosh, Bruce. Well, one, thank you. It's great to be chatting with you guys again. Just even hearing your voice, I'm already brought back to what it was like being at those TU football games many years ago. But it's just a dream come true. There were so many years of hard work that went into it, really starting when I began at Tulsa. And Kevin Harris, our head coach there of the rowing team, was really the coach that pushed me towards this goal and helped me have the confidence to think that maybe one day, a few years down the road, I might be able to achieve it. So especially with the 1-year postponement due to COVID, to finally have it realized and be packing our bags soon to head to Japan, I feel like someone needs to pinch me.
Well, and you qualified in the lightweight women's double sculls with Molly Reckford, who is a young lady that only joined you maybe a year, a little bit more than a year ago. So you've had so many different partners. Why was it that she was able to help you get there?
Yeah, I mean, every partnership, it's a little bit different. It's a lot like, relationships or a marriage where you might find one partner that just really clicks. And something about, her work ethic and just drive to become a better athlete really fit well with how I wake up every morning chasing this dream. And so, I'm lucky to have had a lot of great partners on the U.S. team ever since my first year in the U.S. Double 2014. But yeah, Molly's just a real knockout athlete. And, while the postponement, the 1-year delay was incredibly challenging and a very emotional time for our countries and our communities, it did give Molly and I one extra year of time to prepare. Like you said, we've only been together for about 1.5 years now. So when the Olympic trials were meant to happen last April 2020, we'd only been in that boat together for a couple weeks. So for us, it's a small silver lining that we were able to get a full almost 1.5 years together to really prepare us for the Olympic Games.
Yeah, frustrating certainly with the COVID delay, but it allowed you another year with her. Did you train a whole lot? Were you able to work out quite a bit during the COVID year to at least start to really get some synergy?
Absolutely. I mean, we stayed down in Sarasota, Florida, where the national team trials do take place. They don't have a boathouse structure. It's an outdoor facility, which meant that it was COVID compliant for us to continue training, as we saw a lot of gyms and a lot of rowing clubs shut down around the nation. As an older athlete, part of that year also meant giving myself some time to explore different sports out of the boat just to keep my body healthy, moving in different ways, cycling, running, swimming, to kind of pull up your bootstraps and realize you've got another 12 months added to a calendar that you thought was going to be approaching a little sooner than that did mean we had to be a little creative and bring a little fun into our training before we ramped back up for Olympic trials in 2021.
In order to qualify, it is a little more complex than, say, the Olympic trials in track or whatever, where you just have to finish third. You have to do well in the trials and then at a world type event in Switzerland. So the first order of business was winning the U.S. trials so you could go to Switzerland. And very early on in that qualifying race, your partner Molly catches a crab. And for those that don't know, catching a crab basically is the oar flies out of the water and you have a really hard time recovering. But somehow you did it.
She did. And, mistakes happen. She had a nice loose grip, which is one of our goals, to stay calm and loose. She was a little too loose in that wave. A wave hit her oar and it just went flying out of her hand. But, part of this is being able to stay really cool under pressure. And we were able to recover really quickly. She got the oar right back, pushed it back out into the oar lock so we could pick up the rhythm. And then we took 10 strokes as hard as we could to try and catch back up to the field. And it was great. We were luckily there was so much adrenaline when that happened. We pulled back even with the field very quickly, and then we're able to use that momentum to push through the field and out into open water, which means we've got space between us and our competitors behind us, so we could then control the field from our point of view, which is a good position to be in.
Well, and I think a lot of folks that maybe aren't that familiar with rowing need to understand is when you catch a crab, a high percentage of the time, 95, 99% of the time, you either lose the oar, something damages your boat. There are a lot of bad things that can happen when you catch a crab. And so in a lot of ways, you were fortunate and obviously very good to be able to grab that oar and get it going again, right?
Absolutely. I'd say, yeah, half of it was good athletic skills of her hand-eye coordination to catch it. I could see it a little bit in my peripheral vision, so I was able to duck and avoid getting clocked in the head with it. And the other 50%, I'd say, was just the universe shine down upon us. Because like you said, Bruce, those oars, we can call them boat stopping crabs, which means they actually dig into the water so much that it turns the boat perpendicular to the race course. And at that point, there's no recovering. The race is lost. So we're very happy to recover from that situation and go on to win, so that we had earned the bid then to go to the final Olympic qualification regatta in Lucerne, Switzerland.
That was in Lucerne, Switzerland. So you had, I'm sure, lots of concerns and worries and that kind of, but nothing like a crab during your race in Lucerne. And you guys did a very nice job and won that race and qualified then, right?
Yes, yes. So we went over to Lucerne, and that was, it was great. The governing body, which is called FISA, had a lot of protocols in place, keeping the community safe, keeping the rowers safe, constant testing, and we all got our vaccines before we went over. So it was really exciting to travel to Europe again, which is such a big part of all these summers. We go to World Cups, we go to World Championships. So to be able just to have that excitement again, where you're seeing all of your international rowing friends and to be on the start blocks again, just it really, I think, lit a great fire to build, again, more momentum going into the game.
And I think unlike some other sports where you qualify in different ways, when you cross that finish line, you knew you were an Olympian, right? What's that feeling like?
Absolutely. Yes, so there are 18 countries. 18 countries will be on the start list for the lightweight double at the Tokyo Olympics. So you have to, one, make the boat, and then you have to qualify the boat, but your country has a spot in one of those start lists. So we were able to win the qualification regatta. Coming in first there was a good indicator of speed, I think, for how we can perform at the games. And it was a really special moment. The only thing I'd say that was kind of hard about it were no spectators were allowed, which is similar to what we'll be experiencing over at the games. But normally when we come sprinting into the last quarter of the race, you can hear the crowd roaring. We can hear people like you, Bruce, the voices booming over the loudspeaker. You might catch your last name as the announcers are calling the sprint. It's almost so deafening from the crowds that you can't even hear yourself think, and you really have to maintain that clarity to make sure you're rowing well, you're executing your race plan while the booming voices are there. But this time it was cricket. It was absolutely dead silent because there were no spectators allowed, and it was a little eerie, but also it did make it kind of a very special. You could hear the other boats shouting, calling their sprints, calling their race plans. But yeah, it's a new experience in the world of COVID that we're kind of figuring out like that. So silent racing was a new one.
Oh, I bet. At the University of Tulsa, you were involved, obviously, in the 4s and the 8s. Those are the major boats, but you also won a few races ahead of the Oklahoma, the Wichita race as a pair. Did you ever think that would be where you'd kind of make your mark?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up that pair, because I did have a great partner. Her name was Angie Rosowski-Vogt, and we actually went to high school together out in Folsom, California. We rode together, and we both signed on at Tulsa, and it was great to have, the varsity at Tulsa was fantastic. We had a great varsity 4, but racing the 2-person boat, the pair with Angie, was a really fun experience. There's just a lot more accountability required, and a really fine-tuned synergy that has to happen between 2 people. You can't deflect onto any other teammate in that boat. So I have always had, a little bit of an affinity towards the smaller boats and just really developing a strong teamwork with my one-on-one partner. So yeah, I'm glad that Kevin, let us spend some time in small boats while I was there at Tulsa.
And of course, you reference Kevin Harris, the head rowing coach at the University of Tulsa, and might not know it, you being an Olympian and a performer in so many different international races, but he had to kind of push you into going for the U.S. team. Is that correct? I mean, he had to actually push you toward international competition, didn't he?
Great. Yeah, it was great having Kevin, because when I started to show some times and speeds that might indicate that this could be a great dream for me to chase. I don't know that I fully believed I could be that good, that I was good enough to make the national team or even go on to be on the Olympic team someday. And Kevin Harris was really the one that got me to look in the mirror and believe in myself, and not be afraid to just put myself out there, to put my erg scores out there, to show up to a development ID camp, to enter races where people would be watching the results to try and get an invite into the selection system. And, that's such a huge part of it, just having that one person, that one coach that can really get you just that nudge out the door when you're kind of feeling tenuous towards such a big goal.
You got your degree and your MBA, but your degree is in marketing. So once you portage and put that boat up for good as far as your athletic career is concerned, what do you want to do?
Yeah, well, I am currently, I'm also working. I work as the director of operations for a company called the Digital Medicine Society. And we are working towards, especially a lot of issues that COVID brought to light, a lot of telehealth, a better need for digital endpoints, remote patient monitoring. Clinical trials aren't happening in the clinic so much as they are. We're able to remotely monitor our patients, track their symptoms, give them better care without bringing people in and out of the hospital on such a regular basis. So it is great, so I work the back end of that, a lot of the business operations, the behind the scenes work to keep that company going. And it's great, the degree at Tulsa really has paid off in helping me get positions like that. So.
Michelle, take us through the timeline now. What happens between now and Tokyo?
All right, so all of Team USA, so the heavyweight, men's 8, the women's 8, the 4s, we will all convene in Hawaii. And so we're heading over there in a couple days, and that will be our pre-camp where we get all the boats together, a similar climate to what we'll be seeing in Tokyo, so we can keep practicing in a lot of heat and humidity, and get ourselves a couple time zones closer to Japan. So, as we are navigating a lot of challenging COVID protocols, Hawaii was a great option where we aren't needing to navigate multiple international borders before arrival at the Athlete Village. So it's great. It's definitely not one of the states that I thought I would be getting to travel to because of rowing. So,
what is your expectation as a team?
As a team, I think, the goal is always to get as many boats on the podium as we can. And the United States of America is the only rowing team to qualify every boat class possible for the women's side. So there's an 8, there's a 4, there's a pair, there's a quad, there's a double, there's a lightweight double, and a women's single. And no other country has qualified all of those events. So it's fun to feel like we're a part of something a little bit bigger than ourselves. And I'm excited to go and work with all those other, the strong female contingency of U.S. rowing, and see how many nice looking necklaces we can bring home.
Thank you so much for taking the time, Michelle. Good luck. We are so proud of you, and we look forward to seeing you from Tokyo. Good luck. Safe travels.
All right. Thank you, Bruce. Great to see you again.